Coming up in 1 minute on the Jackin Around podcast.
How have y'all stayed healthy?
We're not.
I can tell.
In Gainesville, there was a place called The Farm. We used to go there and see Mudcrutch play. And Petty would stand in the back and play bass. He never sang.
Oh, wow.
He was the bass player in that band. That's how we knew Tom Petty.
I can't tell this story.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
We'll cut it out if it's not good.
No, it's good. It's really good,
Come
but it might come back on me. But I ended up in a toilet with Royce Kendall and Dr. Hook. We were doing some things down there.
And it
wasn't taking a leak either.
The road with the Gatlin brothers, you know.
Were y'all friends with the Gatlin brothers?
Yeah, after beat Larry's ass.
Did you have to whip his ass?
No.
Yes, you did.
We were all wild.
We toured with Jerry Lee, David Allen Coe, and Tanya.
Oh, boy.
And us. And Howard, at that tour, Howard said, it's really bad when we're the straightest people on this tour.
I was about to say, man, like, we're the voice of reason.
Have you ever seen the end of Spinal Tap when the band goes to hell, and, completely, and everybody's having a little party, his little breakup party and stuff, comes running and goes, hey, we're on the charts in Japan. That's our life. We've had that happen.
This is the Jackin Around podcast, hosted by two-time Academy of Country Music Award winner Jack Ingram. And now, here's Jack.
The Jackin Around podcast is brought to you by Lone Star Dry Goods, a collection of handcrafted quality goods with a truly unique Americana vibe. Visit the world headquarters in the heart of downtown Abilene, Texas, and Willow Park, Texas, Fort Worth. Visit LoneStarDryGoods.com for more information. Welcome to the Jackin Around podcast, available on your favorite audio platforms and in video on YouTube. For links and info, visit JackinAroundPodcast.com.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in a shitty chair.
Yeah.
You recognize these chairs?
Those are my chairs.
That's right.
I think somebody shit in this chair.
Hold on.
No, is it? Oh, no.
Oh, dang it. Have a little class, Toe.
And it cooled down, didn't it?
Yeah, man. Hey,
You're going to all need a vest.
you mind if I need
You
that?
get-
If I borrow that vest?
I got one. I'll loan you.
I was kind of messing with you earlier. I was like, God dang.
See?
All right, we rolling? Yes. Welcome to Jackin Around. Welcome. No, we're not. Right here. This is you right here. Welcome to Jackin Around. We're here with the Bellamy Brothers. Talk about some old hippies. We found the mother lode.
You found it.
So we're here in Steiner Ranch, just north of Austin, or out on the lake. You guys are one of those acts, one of those bands. When I first started back in 1990, 91, it's like y'all had been around forever.
Our career was over then.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I've always loved about bands like you guys is there's a guy named Jay Joyce who's a producer in Nashville, and he always says, hey, man, we're just a couple of roaches. You can't, like, you don't know how we got here and you can't get rid of us.
Don't stay around. Don't stay alive. You can't keep doing it.
That's right.
You know?
How have y'all stayed healthy?
We're not.
I can tell.
But
But fairly healthy. I mean,
but considering, I don't know. We've been fortunate. Our parents lived to be fairly old, but they didn't abuse themselves as bad as we did early on. But you learn a lot of tricks, pacing yourself on the road, trying to get a little exercise, of course, and eat right. We do those things, but we do all the crazy stuff with it.
So what did y'all do? Because everybody knows all the hits. You guys play, like, you've made how many dates a year do y'all play a year? Oh, on average, minus whatever.
We did it.
120, 100.
We did 100. We did 140 before COVID stopped everything.
Yeah.
We did 140 the last 2 years before then.
And then with COVID, we did 160.
Yeah. And we did some more.
Stepped it up a little bit.
But since then, we've been back since like last fall. We've been back really hard at it. And we got more dates now than ever. And so, yeah, that's normal. 120 to 140, is normal.
And so when did that consistency start for you guys? Because I know
76.
Is that when Let Your Love Flow
Yeah.
happen? And all of a sudden it's like, boom, we're on.
I mean, we've played upwards of 200 shows a year.
Yeah.
Now,
were you playing in mid 60s, late 60s and hit the road? Were y'all a road band, or were y'all trying to get a hit? I don't know what it was like.
Well, a
back
little
then.
bit of both, really, because we had a band in Atlanta,
Jericho.
yeah, and
we found
were
that name in an IHOP. I'll never forget it. Had the old band. We're just looking at it. Was a street name, Jericho. That
Yeah.
sounds like
What was the band like?
we played everything. We played.
Was it like a cover band?
Yeah, we
like
did
a
a lot of
soul
co-
band,
oh,
or-
we did a lot of covers.
It was a cover band. It was a soul band. It was a country band. Whatever anybody wanted to hear. We played one club in Charleston, South Carolina, and there was nothing but sailors and trannies.
Good audience.
The whole, and we played 5, 6 shows. We'd go on at 11:30 at night and come off at 8 in the morning.
Wow.
Just take 15-minute breaks here and there.
that was
And
was it fun? Were y'all having a good time? And you were young, like
part.
it's almost like the
it's
Beatles.
hard to remember some
the
of it.
part we remembered. Yeah, it was pretty.
How old were you guys?
Well, I was mid-20s.
Yeah,
You
and
were-
I was
You were
20,
20?
yeah.
So that was the time, man. Like those gigs that meant nothing but meant everything.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really need sleep back then,
Right.
Because we toured. We did 64 days in Europe one time in a row, and we played 60 days out of 64.
And your voices never. Did your voices ever give out?
Well,
We've been lucky with
they
voices.
were ragged some nights.
Unless you have a bad cold or something. We've never had voice problems.
Oh, that's what I've always. People ask me about voice stuff. I'm like, man, I'm not really a singer anyway. Like it's not like we all know singers, like Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, those rangy. Yes,
They got to do
rangy
like
songs,
we
yeah.
just kind of. We kind of
Yeah, find your zone, stay in it.
Just
Yeah.
get in the song and stay in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we we grew up singing a lot of the stuff we wrote, so the range is like what it's not something we tackle.
Right, you wrote it in your own range.
Yeah, so even the stuff we still do today, it's not really a strain on us. We play it all in the original keys. And
So in the '60s, when y'all came up, and then you were going to LA and Nashville. So were y'all familiar with were you into Funky Donnie Fritz and Christofferson and like y'all were in Nashville or around Nashville at that time?
yeah, but we were more on the West Coast then. We were more on the West Coast at that time because I wrote a song for Jim Stafford called Spiders and Snakes. And I didn't write it originally for Jim, but through a producer I'd been playing some songs for, Jim found it. And so when that became a big hit, the producer said, "Hey, why don't y'all come out there and work on the TV show?" They were doing they had a summer replacement show for the Smothers Brothers.
Oh wow!
And
And what was the TV? What was that?
the Jim Stafford show or Jim Stafford hour or something.
Jim Stafford show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he replaced the Smothers Brothers for the summer.
Yeah, that's when they got into that weird. What they got the controversy over the Smothers Brothers did, and they kind of wanted to take them off the air.
Yeah,
What was the
They
controversy?
had done some. What was that?
They kind of blacklisted him a while for being outspoken on Vietnam War and all that stuff. The networks did.
Yeah.
And those guys were crazy.
Well, they were.
I
They
mean,
were real comedians.
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
They
Yeah,
really,
they do
oh
anything.
God,
They weren't
those
afraid to
But we
push those things.
But we went out there and worked on the show a lot, and Howard actually ended up going on the road with Jim as a road manager,
and everything else.
and I stayed there and wrote a bunch of stuff for his album.
I went on the road with Jim Stafford and Gallagher. You know the comedian?
Yeah,
Gallagher?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Gallagher. Yeah, we lived with
that was
Gallagher.
our roommate, Gallagher.
No way.
Yeah,
Was he funny off air?
He was never off air. He was always on.
That's the hardest part about hanging out with
Yeah.
some people.
Wear
Some
you
of
out.
us. Some
Yeah.
of us. It's like, dude, enough. Just
Yeah,
turn it
exactly.
off, man.
yeah.
Put
Gallagher
that damn
never.
Sledge-O-Matic up. Go to bed.
Dramatic.
He'd do Sledge-O-Matic for breakfast if you let him. I mean, he was.
That's so funny, man. We all have songwriter buddies, or
Yeah,
where it's like, all right,
Yeah.
enough
Yeah,
with
this
the
can't
bit.
stop.
right. All right, go to bed. So we were on the West Coast a lot. Back during that time.
I know y'all were before this, but like, were you friends with Petty and that whole crowd?
We knew.
We knew Mudcrutch
He
back
was in a
when.
band called Mudcrutch.
Petty was. I was telling them. My wife, who's younger than me, and I
I could see that.
try to tell. I try to
Anybody,
fill.
anybody could see that,
Try
right?
to fill in some history, but we used to go up to this in Gainesville. There was a place called the Farm. We used to go there and see Mudcrutch play, and Petty would stand in the back and play bass. He never sang.
Oh wow.
He was the bass player in that band. That's how we knew Tom Petty. And
He was
That's
a bass
also
player.
Yeah.
that's also where we discovered mushrooms.
yes,
Yeah.
Was in Gainesville.
yeah,
Really?
And we stole some of the spores out of the cow piles and took them to our ranch and thumped the spores out in the piles. And to this day, I shouldn't tell this, should I?
No, yeah, you should.
What?
Where?
That would be-
Give me the address.
there was a college professor who originally brought those things to the University of Florida, and up there in Gainesville, and that's how they got around.
So Florida's Gainesville. Florida State is Tallahassee.
Right.
Yeah.
One time I made a mistake. I was on tour with somebody, and we were in one of those college coliseums. I guess I was in Tallahassee, and I'm from Texas, so I didn't know. But it'd be like being at A&M going, hook 'em, come on.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Let's go. And man, I never want them back.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
They
a pretty
hated
big
me.
rival. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got mushrooms from Gainesville.
Yeah, you only have to get them once. They come up every year.
They keep coming up.
If it's raining,
All you need is
sun,
rain and sunshine. Yeah.
And cows,
Yeah.
and cows.
right?
We always had cows.
Do y'all still work a ranch?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started the first line of a song one time. There's some cows. Some cows live just a mile that drop a wild high in their pile. That's
pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Was that Mushy?
Finish that mushy.
Yeah, we had a song called Mushy. Yeah.
So as songwriters, y'all are still writing songs.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, do y'all get together and do it, or do you come up with something and you go, "Hey man, check this out, help me with the chorus"? Or
We do all
Just
kind of all
every-
those things. You know,
No set pattern. Just
Howard would
any
come
kind
down
of
to the
way.
studio and say, "Hey, I got." He's a kind of a Neanderthal. He won't show up with a guitar or something. He'll go, "Hey, listen to this," and he'll start and just sing something on his leg. And I go, "Okay, I'll work on it tonight. I'll take my phone and then I'll go in and flink around and
isn't that funny how that
send,
works?
Yeah, send it back to him. And
yeah, text me. I live. Like,
Y'all live on the same property?
Yeah.
we do.
yeah,
We live
lives
in an old
about-
family ranch.
he lives about a football field and a half from my house.
I remember, like, I'm dating myself. It's a trip to be with you guys because even though I've been in this business now, I think 30 years maybe, or at some level, but it's still so funny because I can still see my frat boy friends trying to two-step to a redneck girl or whatever, like at some fraternity party when I was in college, and you guys have just always been there, and since I got busy. But then 20 years later, I go, damn, man, they're still
Those
killing
cockroaches
they're
are still here.
killing it. Like it reminds me of like a Jerry Jeff Walker thing or some of those other things where you go, they've always been there and they're never going to leave.
The Jerry Jeff thing, I think his losing him impacted me harder than a lot of people because was that kind of thing. You thought he would always be here.
Always.
Yeah. And last time I had seen him, we were doing a show together and he was out in the pouring rain. He had to be just whacked out. And I didn't, what the hell is he doing? And he was just out. Finally, he looked and said, "Is that you, Howard?" "Yeah, what are you doing?" It's the last time I saw him.
Is that you, Howard? Come here. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you something.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I love about joining the circus. Is that it's almost like, because every time I've ever seen you guys at a festival or at a package show or whatever, you guys have always been so cordial and friendly, like, "Hey man, come on, Jack." And I was like, "Oh, how do they know me?" And y'all just always have.
Yeah, well, I don't think we've ever been.
We don't know any better.
Yeah, it's just kind of the way we were raised. It's kind of the way our family was, and I call everybody honey because our mom did that.
He calls me honey.
I say,
All right, honey.
I'll be in a store, I'll be in a restaurant leaving. Yeah, honey, I do that. Yeah, honey, I did this, honey. And I have people turn around and look at me.
Yeah, these days that doesn't
and
go
these
with
days,
you.
yeah, you have to be careful because what offends people is really weird.
You don't have to be careful.
Yeah, I know I'm not really, but
I know.
but
You
it's
can pretend,
but it's just kind of the way we were raised. It's just kind of our mannerisms, and it's
But it's
not
funny-
something you practice.
that's where the rub comes. Not the rub, but like that's where I am intrigued. Like, man, in order to succeed at a consistent level that you guys have, and in order to continually stay above the fray, there doesn't have to be, but 9 times out of 10, there's a big chip on a shoulder or an ego or a thing where it's like, and it works for people like us. Like, if you step on some toes, hey man, that's just the price of admission. And it doesn't seem like you guys do that, or never did.
Yeah,
Not many people. We've stepped on. Depends on if you step on our toe first. That's kind of what we've always gone about it. Everybody deserves, your best side until they prove otherwise to be, someone that doesn't deserve, needs their toes stepped on. And there's a few of those, but we haven't had them. Most of them are record companies, so they don't
Your
count.
companies are easy.
Yeah.
They're toe steppers.
Right, yeah.
But when you guys were having the consistent chart success after chart, like hit after hit after hit after hit, from like what, 76, 78?
76. Yeah.
But how did y'all stay out of the rat race? Never seemed like you guys were part of the rat race.
Well, it wasn't a matter of, we didn't really try.
We didn't fit in.
Yeah, we just didn't fit in very well, and we were gone a lot because we had a really weird career because we worked Europe and Australia and South Africa and all those places so much until we would come into town and see people in the business like maybe once a year or
who
something.
were your contemporaries? Like who were the other artists that you?
In our book, we talked about doing TV with ABBA, and then coming home and playing a show with Jerry Clower. So
Yeah,
that's
pretty
about
broad
as
spectrum right
that's
there.
about as far apart as you can
That's
get.
yin and yang.
Yeah, and we've got many, instances like that because we'd be over in Europe doing Bonnie Tyler. She had It's a Heartache when that was out, after
God, I
Love
love
Flow.
that song.
And we would be over there doing that. We'd come home, go on the road with the Gatlin Brothers.
Were y'all friends with the Gatlin Brothers?
Yeah, after beat at Larry's ass.
Did you have to whip his ass?
No. We
They were the wild. We were all wild.
were
in those
all
days.
so wild.
It's funny, man. Every time I'm with Larry, I'd look at him because he's on the straight and narrow and has been for years. But every time I'm with him, I'm like, the only guy in the world who should never do cocaine
Well,
would be you.
Think you
Like, what
figured
did you
that
need
out.
that?
well, Larry, every time we see him now, I say, remember that time? He goes, He goes, I know I didn't always live my life at the foot of the cross.
And we know you didn't too.
And he said, yeah. We remember those stories. So
We
yeah.
had to beat you down with the cross.
But yeah, we played with everybody, man. We went on the road with Alabama and Charlie Daniels back then, and the Oak Ridge Boys.
Were y'all always the opener, or were y'all closing?
all
Like, did y'all ever
sorts
have
of-
like a real stretch where you were headlining stadiums
Yeah.
or anything?
I mean, it just depends.
I think the secret to our survival still here is we could work any situation. We could open, we could close, we could be in the middle, and of any type show. And I know a lot of groups get to a certain status and they won't play a venue that's, won't lessen themselves to play a smaller
Right.
venue. But, the way we've always figured it, if it routes in, the money's good and they treat you good,
We'll be
crowds
there.
are good, we'll be there. And we've kind of looked at it.
That's what I
that
mean
way.
about the whole roach deal. Like,
Yeah, it's a cockroach mentality.
hey man, tell me, cool. Yep, we'll be there.
Yeah.
And the ego part, that's the funny part too, though, that have always enjoyed about you guys and other artists that I consider this in the same mentality is like the music also has always represented that same kind of mentality. Like it feels like a flow. It never feels like you're reaching too hard or digging too low. It's just like, man, here's what we do. And it fits us like old boots. Were y'all friends with the amazing Rhythm Aces?
Yeah, I knew Russell. Yeah. Didn't play a lot of shows with them, but knew Russell.
That kind of music always seems to fit.
That's such great stuff. Just really great stuff. We knew like Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Did y'all know Dr. Hook and all those?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We did shows in Europe with Dr. Hook.
How was that? Was that a wild ride?
Oh, it was great. Well, I was talking about.
I got a story about Dr. Hook and
what you got?
And what's Kendall? What was
Jeannie?
No, it's for
Royce.
Royce
Kendall.
I can't tell this story.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
We'll cut it out if it's not good.
But, no, it's good. It's really good, but it might come back on me. But I ended up in a toilet with Royce Kendall and Dr. Hook. We were doing some things down there.
And it
wasn't taking a leak either.
When was that?
Oh, that was
mid 80s,
early to mid 80s.
Early
yeah.
80s, yeah.
There was that tour that he's talking about had the Kendalls and Dr. Hook and Charlie Rich and Bobby Bear.
Oh wow!
And us and Johnny Cash on it. That's where we sit with Johnny in that little old dressing room. Johnny was
in Frankfurt.
We just met him in passing, and he sent somebody. He said, "I want to go get them Bellamy boys. I want to talk to them." And we came over, sit down in this little dressing room, just about as big as this circle, with Johnny. Just sat there for a long time and just got to talk to him. I would just kill to have that on tape.
It's amazing how that works. How you find yourself in these moments where you can feel the weight of the room, but still you go. And then 10 years later, you're like, God, I wish I could remember that better. Even though when you're tapping, you go, I'm going to remember every single detatel. Especially that tour, man. That's a heavy tour.
We did some really crazy tours.
There was this dude over there he'd take everybody in country music and do a European tour, Scandinavia and on into Spain. And we had from Tammy Wynette and from Freddie Fender and The Killer. God, one time
Jerry Lee.
We did a tour.
One time we went on tour with Jerry Lee, David Allen Coe, and Tanya.
Oh boy,
and us. And Howard at that tour, Howard said, "It's really bad when we're the straightest people on this tour."
I was about to say, man, like we're the voice of reason,
right? And then Freddie was on that tour too before he quit drinking.
Yeah,
because we knew Freddie in both worlds. And we knew Freddie, because Freddie actually came down to the ranch. And
is Freddie from San Antonio?
He's from Corpus originally.
Corpus.
Yeah.
We did a duet with him
way
back. He sang Spanish and we sang it. And it should have been
that
released.
Voice,
One of those
man.
Political things that, no, he couldn't allow this.
Oh, it was so great.
Back then.
But yeah.
He did the translation to some lyrics.
A song called Staying in Love.
All of it was so great.
Oh, God, it was killer.
And,
that guy.
He could sing.
Amazing. He'd
I
come
have
down.
This little skit in my head. For some reason, I woke up one morning like 15 years ago, and I had this vision of Flaco Jimenez going to the dentist at like 8 a.m, like a Saturday Night Live skit, where the nurse comes out and goes, "Flaco Jimenez?" And he goes, "It's Flaco Jimenez." The whole thing is just him going, funny. "It's Flaco, goddammit."
I love Flaco.
Man, Flaco, he's such a great.
That stuff. Whenever I'm in a bar and it's at that moment and somebody plays like "For the Next Teardrop Falls" or whatever, and you just go, it's sublime. Like
it really is.
It was we were on stage on a cruise ship out of Sweden. We left Stockholm and we're cruising all across to Finland. And we were on stage. They had a really nice showroom in this cruise ship, and we were on stage, and there's a lady standing like right here. Our whole show, crying her eyes out. Crying like, her clothes are wet. She's crying so hard, and so after the show, I mean, I you couldn't ignore it. So Judy, our international agent, I said, get her and let's get her an autograph or something and see what she wants, if she's okay. And I said, so she came back, they brought her back. And I said, are you all right? She goes, I miss Freddie Fender. That was her answer to the whole thing. You know, I said, I do too, honey. I said, I miss him real bad.
Me too. So what have you, what is it? Honky Tonk Ranch? What is that?
That's our reality show. We started up.
It really doesn't have a definition.
It's just.
Is it just you guys hanging out being ranchers?
Well, kind of.
And songwriters?
Well, yeah. It's just a mishmash of a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's you know.
Is it fun?
It is fun because, you know, we can take credit or the blame for it because we don't have anybody really telling us what to do. And it's not really scripted. You know, it has an idea, a framework.
Like, do y'all make up shit to do, or do you just get up and go, what does the day have to offer?
We like Howard said, we get a framework of like, okay, today this is kind of going to happen, but we don't really script any of it, and so
Not a tight script.
and some of it really does go on the road. Like we took it to Belgium and England last year. It's the only time we've ever taken it out of the country, but we've had it on the road in Texas. So we took it to. Did we go to Billy Bob's and do a? We didn't do it in Billy Bob. Okay, well, we did something in Fort Worth, I remember. But a lot of it takes place at the ranch too. It'll
can
show,
take place anywhere, though. You know,
Yeah.
So it's just you guys and your travels and travails and.
Well, and you know, we'll run across people. You know, like Blake Shelton asked us to come out and do the big tour with him, and us and John Anderson. And when we got out there, you know, we'd taken we were just going to shoot stuff around the tour, you know. And Blake said, hey, I'll do it, you know. And so Blake came on. And so that started something up. And then we had John Snyder came on and we did a Dukes of Hazzard episode.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's kind of taken off like that. And then we'll go back down to the ranch. And
there's one about the skunk ape. We have the Bigfoot in Florida is a skunk ape.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a skunk ape episode.
Yeah.
You know, it's a stoned out show. It really is.
Is it?
It really is.
Yeah. And it's just.
Were you guys always, did you guys always kind of not position yourselves, but like just by happenstance of lifestyle, were y'all always kind of the hippie cowboys?
For a long time. We were, yes.
Pretty natural.
Yeah.
pretty natural progression.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Since I can remember.
Were you friends with John Anderson in the 80s
Oh,
when
yeah.
he was having
Yeah.
hits? And
Yeah, he's from just a little ways from where we
what
live.
I thought. He was funny. I did a show with him. I did like a string of shows. They were weird shows. They were those kind of they call them fire.
Yes, we've done them.
Where everybody gets a ticket, but
yes,
so you got to
not necessarily to come. They don't necessarily come, but they buy tickets.
So you're playing in an arena.
FOP.
And there's 400 people. It's like, oh shit. And it was fun though, just to watch how professional he was and how badass he was, and how he's got that volume pedal in his throat.
God, he's great.
And he came back and he was in his camouflage hunting gear, and we were following him in our van with a trailer. We were following their buses, and he just came up. He goes, "All right, boys, I only got one piece of advice: sync up your pills. You don't want some guy going hunting while another guy's going fishing."
Sounds like
pretty good advice.
Yeah, that's what I like about John. He's to the point. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have worked with so many people. I mean, it really is.
So what do y'all do about music now? Like, it's hard for anybody to figure out, especially coming from like vinyl records to cassettes to CDs. Like, what do you do? How do y'all approach putting out new music now?
Well, you have to do what everybody's doing because that's all there is. You know, we sit around and bitch about not being able to, you know,
and
do this or that.
It
like
seems to even change the digital world. Seems to even change subtly. It keeps getting harder to me. Or either my ears are getting more sensitive, but the hardness of it, just sometimes it'll take me over.
Just doesn't have the warmth.
We don't sound like this.
Yeah.
It really is to get that warmth back in the sound.
And that's the funny part is like, my kids are teenagers. They don't know what you're talking. Like you can't miss something you never had.
Well, this is true.
You know,
And that's that's the world you're in, because you got to compete with all of that.
so have y'all been making new music?
Yeah. We've actually got a lot of new music out, and we've got a brand new album. Actually, we've got a covers album coming out, which is really funny because we've never done one.
What kind of covers do you guys do?
We did
Oddly enough, we did "It's a Heartache."
we did It's a Heartache.
And,
We did The Most Beautiful
because
Girl
we
in the
just did
World.
great
Charlie-
songs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we just did
So
great songs.
We
Shit,
did
y'all just
Knocking on Heaven's
have-
Door, reggae style.
That's great.
It feels real good. Just stuff like that, just stuff we like. So
What's it called?
it's called Covers from the Brothers. So
The Bellamy Brothers.
yeah. And we got, we were talking about John. We did a duet with John last year, and we just put it out, and it got like 4 million hits on YouTube and stuff, just like right away. He sang so good on. We did a song called "No Country Music for Old Men,"
Oh, that's great.
and just us and John.
Where'd that song come from?
I wrote it, and
That's pretty
It's
damn
great.
good.
It's a-
and
It's a
it
really
did
great
really
song.
well, because we've been on the tour with Blake and John, and every night, I'd hear John again. It got so familiar again because we. Oh yeah, it's like my favorite thing in the world. So when I wrote that song,
Swinging.
I wrote that song actually right, I think the same day Kenny Rogers died,
Oh, wow.
and all I could hear was John in my head, and so I called him up, and because we'd all the tour like all come to an abrupt end all together,
Right.
in the parking lot somewhere in Nebraska. And I called him up and said, "Hey, can you do?" He goes, "Yeah." I says, "If I can get to the studio." So I arranged for a friend of ours over in Hendersonville for John to come over and sing there. Send it to him, and then we sang. And we ended up shooting a video, but we shot it in separate places as well. We shot ours in Florida and him out in the field up there. But it actually all came together really well.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, we still do a lot of stuff. Just
So is this one of those deals where you guys just I know how I feel about this. I know how Willie Nelson feels about it, but the road goes on forever until
Yeah, we've of course Willie's set the standard, but you've never seen Willie retire, have you?
Yeah, you can.
And in the final tour, you never heard him announce the retirement tour, have you?
I've always thought, like, whenever I think about retirement, I go, you can't retire from a job you never really had.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not work to start with.
yeah. Retirement's really
It's not an option.
not really an option. I mean, it's too
Death
much
is
to do.
retirement for
Yeah.
us, I guess. It's
We were walking in tonight to the show, and this guy from India walks up and said, "Hey, we have a venue in where did he say?
in India, Bangalore,
Bangalore. We got
Bangalore,
a
India.
India." And I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
it's Indian
we've been
dude.
working on some more Indian dates, but we had to stop because of COVID." So he gives us a number and says, "Have your agent
Yeah,
call."
we got a date in Bangalore if we want it.
I mean, it's just
It's a long damn way. I know that.
we are the only country act to ever play India.
Really?
Yeah, because it ain't easy to tour, but it's a neat thing to do.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an experience.
Has
People-
your
people are great.
experiences overseas? Because you guys really, we were joking on the bus earlier about how that used to be a little catchphrase. Hey, we're big in Belgium,
Exactly.
but you guys really have taken the time and the effort.
Have you ever seen the end of Spinal Tap when the band goes to hell, and, completely, and everybody's having a little party, a little breakup party and stuff, and then one guy comes running and goes, "Hey, we're on the charts in Japan." That's our life. We've had that happen
That's
so many
good.
times. Hey, we just went gold in Denmark. And
I think it says something about your humility and your humbleness of your music sounds like your personality. Your personality is just like your touring. And it's like, hey man, is it a good gig? Good people?
yeah,
Let's go play.
yeah.
I think that's
I
part
mean,
of
when you compare our lives to most people, I mean, what have we got to complain about, really?
right.
Even
mean,
if
hell,
I
you got
feel
two
like
little-
hell,
You got two little stateside rooms on a bus
Yeah.
with your brother.
get
get
my
to wake up and
best
say,
sleep
"Fuck
there.
yeah. wake up and say whatever I want to it.
Well, man, thanks for hanging out. And
Yeah,
talking
thank you,
and
man.
taking the time after a show. I know oftentimes after a show, it's not the best time to get on camera, but I appreciate it. And I really respect and admire
Yeah,
what you
what
guys
a night we picked, man. This
I know, if I could just have that vest, we'd be talking for
Yeah,
a little while
I know,
longer.
making fun of my vest and didn't want to borrow it. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jack.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, brother. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. You guys are fantastic.
Your blog's called Jackin Around. I
That's
love
perfect,
it. I love
man.
it. That's real good.
That is just
Jacking
great.
around.
That's killer.
That's real good.
So we good?
Oh, now he's going to turn the camera on.
Yeah.
Now-
Where
now
did
we
you
start
get all that?
Wait a minute here. That was all a rehearsal.
Yeah. We've had that happen.
You know what, man? That's my biggest fear. I have like nightmares about that.
Check and say.
Like I'll forget to press record and I'll have to say,